This was never something I thought I would be doing, but here I am. I'm 48 and I'm on a journey of facing early onset Alzheimer's, and this all started 2 years ago. I started off on TikTok just kind of sharing my story, and apparently there's quite the community out there of other people struggling with the same thing, so I thought I'm going to bring this over to YouTube as well. So this is just more of an introductory of who I am and what brought me here. I may have some blips in my videos because that happens in just real life with my memory and my brain, but bear with me. And I say a lot, and those are space fillers for me because my brain is very slow. Anyways, yeah, so I sent over a video. One of my first videos was kind of an explanation of what brought me here, but I think I'll just share a part of that, but also a little bit about me. I'm, like I said, 48. I grew up in a small town, and I struggle living life and being a human being, I guess. I'm 15 years sober from drugs and alcohol, and that has been quite a journey. So I have actually been sharing that part of my journey on TikTok as well. So I thought I'd probably bring that over here as well, because it is a really big part of my life. I did struggle for many years with substance use, and yeah, I've got lots to share on that, lots of stories. And but I'm sober 15 years, and it's been lovely. I have 2 kids. I've been a single mom for a million years. Okay, it's been a million years, and it's been a journey. That has been so fun. We are on the other side of like the worst part of it, though, I think. My kids are just a bit older now, so that's been very helpful, especially with this new journey I'm on. So yeah, so I worked in healthcare actually for 15 years. I worked at our local hospital here in a surgical unit, and that was a lovely job. And it was fast paced. It was lots of multitasking. It was an acute floor. So lots of emergencies, lots of code reds, code blues, code whites, like lots of gowning up and funky stuff. And I loved it. And it's funny because I loved the fast-pacedness. I loved the multitasking. There was a huge multidisciplinary team of social workers, doctors, nurses, PT, OT. And so I've been exposed to so much of the healthcare system. Yes, and how flawed it is, yes. But in that, I did take care of a lot of people that were palliative, which is the process of dying. And then I also took care of a lot of patients that had Alzheimer's and dementia. And being where I am now, I never thought that this would be the path I'm on, facing dementia. And because I have a very broad scope of what that looks like in the medical field, like the later stages, mid to later stages of Alzheimer's, it's not pretty. It's not pretty, and I just refuse to let myself get really bad. So I will be documenting my journey of the stages of the cognitive decline and the stages of grief and the stages of applying for MAID, which will be absolutely what I choose to do. So going back to how this all started, I did, like I said, in recovery. So along with addiction issues, I have struggled for a long time with mental health. Mental health runs in my family swiftly. We're a proud family of mental health patients, recipients, I don't know. Now, I didn't think I had mental health problems even when I got sober. I just thought I was an alcoholic or a drug addict. And about 7 years ago, I finally allowed the mental health world be in my world. And so I've been basically in therapy. I do a 12-step program to stay sober, and then I started EMDR therapy about, 7, 8. It's probably 9 years ago now, actually. Anyways, quit working at the hospital and started working in child protection, actually. And lots of fun stories there. Anyways, it's more of admin, what I'm doing. And I was in office. This is all pre-COVID, in office. Everything was fine. COVID happens. I'm working from home full time. And when I was 46, I opened up my laptop to work, and I had been in that job for 5 years. I knew what I was doing. I knew the records management system very well. But I opened up my laptop and I had no idea how to do my job. Complete blank. So, that happens when you're stressed or tired or PMSing or whatever the heck. And I was really stressed at the time. So I honestly just thought I was like stressed out. So, when that happens, you kind of like stop for a second and you're like, okay, you know what you're doing. Like, you've been doing this forever. And no, I couldn't recall it. Like, I couldn't get it back. So I actually went to my training notes and I still couldn't do the job. And the job at that point was not hard. Well, actually, that's not true. That is not true. I was in the process of learning a different thing, but I couldn't access any information, even with my training notes. And that was really scary. So I took time off work. I ended up taking a year off work. There was no suggestion whatsoever that I had cognitive issues. It was all psychiatric. That's what I knew. I kind of owned the title of being, the black sheep, alcoholic, have severe anxiety, depression, rage, all of the things. So I was very attuned with people saying I had mental health issues. And I did. I totally did. I had a teenage daughter at the time who was really, really struggling, and being a single parent during that and then also trying to stay sober. Like, I actually can't believe I stayed sober during those years because it was bad. It was really, really bad. And I've always kind of prided myself on having, quick-witted thinking. And I just figured I was really, really stressed, and it was kind of my time to fall apart. And so I was referred to a psychiatrist. Fair enough. Like, I needed to see one. And it was really hard, but in the psychiatrist appointments that I did have, she ended up doing a cognitive assessment. It was called the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. I'm sure people have heard of it. Basically, it's like drawing a clock, drawing animals, remembering things, all that stuff. And I got a very bad score. And again, I think they thought it was just mental health, which, fair enough. So we repeat the cognitive assessment again months later, still failed it. And at this point, I was having spatial confusion, like when I was driving, like if I turned my head and then I looked back to see if there was a car coming, I couldn't decipher the distance between the car and when I should go. So I actually got my driver's license taken away from me for a few months until I was able to do a driving test, which I did pass. So I got my driver's license back, which is good because I was 46. And so then, I was sent for obviously MRIs, CTs. They're, when you get like an MRI or a CT and then you just have like the radiologist, I guess, who's doing the, like, writing what they found, there was really not, like, there was some atrophy, some frontal lobe atrophy for sure, and a little bit of white matter, but that's all it said. And then, of course, my GP was like, no, everything's fine. Your MRIs look good. Okay. But during that time, I got referred to a neurologist. And I had been off work for a year. I was now back at work, and I was actually feeling better. Like, the things that were happening when I was off work, which were very clear that there was a cognitive issue. And I'll just name a few of those things. Was like the spatial confusion. I'd be talking, talk, and then halfway through a story, I would stop mid-sentence and not know what I was talking about at all. Like I always call it like a complete blank or like blackness. And because that's what it is like for me. And I'm not afraid. I don't get anxious. It's not that I can't recall. It's just complete blank. Sometimes I can recall with cueing. Now that things are progressing, I can't recall. The other thing that was happening is stuttering. I started stuttering. So the thoughts in my head were not matching my mouth. So there was like a disconnect there. And so I was not fluent in speaking. So there's lots of pauses, stuttering, hesitation, confusion, and then like not knowing the names of certain things that I have always known. And then something that started happening too was forgetting the day before, what I did the day before. And that has continued to be quite scary for me, actually, because like I cannot. Sometimes I can with cueing, like I said, but most of the time it's completely blank. I have a partner, and I mean, it's quite convenient, okay? And you can use this if you need to. But if we've had an argument or something, and then the next day they want to talk about it with me, and I literally have no idea what they're talking about. And it's not a joke. Like, I'm literally have no clue. And at the beginning, I pretended I knew what they were talking about. But it was pretty clear I had no idea. So there was that. And then appointments. Oh my God, that is a continual issue. Late for appointments, missed appointments, putting appointments in my calendar on the wrong day, and so on. Yeah, so those are I mean, there was a few things I did mention in my other video, like I looked for my car keys for a half hour. I can get into that story another time, but I looked for a half an hour. I was at the gym and went to go look for my car keys to go home, and looked for a half hour under the seats, under the car, everywhere, and went back into the gym, went into the locker, went to every, machine I was on to find them, and couldn't. And then went back to my car and sat down in my car, and my car was on. The keys were in the ignition and the car was running the whole time. And then another kind of big dramatic one was I put some eggs on to boil, and then I walked downtown forgetting the stove on, and it was a half hour walk, and I had to run home when I realized that I left the stove on, and I lived in a 1890s heritage house. But anyways, when I got home, the house was not on fire, but it was almost on fire, and opened the door to a massive amount of black smoke filled my entire apartment. It was bad. Really bad. Yeah, so anyways, I ended up meeting the neurologist. He's so lovely. But by then I had accommodations at work, so I work solely from home, and I only do one part of my job so that it's consistent every single day. So that I wake up, it's the same thing, there's no new information. And that's actually been working. And so when I did finally get in to see the neurologist, I almost didn't go. Yeah, I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, I don't have cognitive problems at all. And I went in and I did like a 2-hour cognitive assessment with the nurse before, and did poorly on that apparently. Even though I even said to the nurse, I'm like, this is a waste of time because I'm good. And then the neurologist walked in with pamphlets of early onset Alzheimer's, and I was like, cool. Just totally didn't believe it. Anyways, long story short, more tests have been done, and there's a biomarker in my cerebral spinal fluid that is indicating like the very early stages of early onset Alzheimer's. And so I'll get more into that and the testing, and there's been lots more symptoms and stuff, but I did just want to introduce myself. I'm currently off work right now. I'll be off work for about 2 months. And I'm just, I'm just giving my brain a break. I do well working from home, but honestly, lately it's been a lot harder. And so I know now that self-care is so important, not just for my sobriety, mental health, and everybody else around me's mental health, but just so that my brain can have a little bit of a deep breath, Anyways, thank you for the follows. I'm going to be more active on YouTube here. I've been kind of back and forth if I was going to do this or not, but I think I will because I'm not working. So anyways, if you guys have questions or comments or anything, just let me know and I will answer them or make videos about them.